We have never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the households, then we start making better investment.
Evil woman right there. They seem to think, so Marcus, what she was saying is that we have to break out of the mold that kids belong to their parents and say that kids belong to everyone. And then somehow that will fix the schools. I don't, yeah. So leftists seem to think that they love your kids more than you do. Newsflash, they do not. Here's the secret though. It's not that they love their kids more than you love your kids. It's that they hate you with a passion, more than Anakin hated Obi-Wan at the end of Revenge of the Sith. They hate your guts and want to burn you on the stake of the future because they want that future to be their future. They hate you because you are in the way of that, standing in front of your kids. They say you are stopping the collective good. And they want you out of the way to have their kids. So I've said it many times, I personally don't have a kid. I do have a niece. There is exactly one person in this world who loves that little girl more than I do. And that is her mother. There's not one conservative out there. There's not one liberal out there. There is no one except for her mother that loves her as much as I do. And it is insidious for these people to go out and say they could raise her better than her own mother could. That they could love her more than her own mother could. It is evil. Now, that's not, sometimes, in very few instances, parents don't love their children. They are terrible parents. But that is not the case for often. Oftentimes, parents love their kids more than you ever will. And isn't communal raising of kids going poorly? I have to ask that. And I'll ask you this too, Marcus. Look where crime's the highest. It's pretty easy to see that it's where, gangs are raising kids. That they're out on the streets, hanging with the guys, except that those guys are getting them to go and steal people's cars or hold people up at gunpoint or what have you. Just look what's going on in LA and San Francisco, in New York. Marcus, am I right? Or am I overstepping?
I think you're right. It's like I have a niece and a nephew through my long-term girlfriend. And I see them as my niece and nephew, even though not officially married or anything. But I love them to death. I've been there their entire life, and I got my sister has a son, and I love them to death. And I don't know. It's hard to fathom how you love somebody more than you love those kids. And they say when you have your own kid, you love them even more. So, it's like you said, it's hard to fathom loving something more. So
it's not going to happen.
No.
And leftists surely don't love my kids more than I do. When I have
that
them.
community crap. No, bump that junk.
They're the ones who wanted to tell them at 4 years old, if they're a boy, that, hey, you might be a girl. You certainly do not love them more than I will.
It's like you said, the people that are in prison, usually they didn't have a father figure. And an argument against that's going to be, oh, well, if you're raised by community, you can have that father figure. And that's not quite how that works. It sounds great, but you need a steady mother and father in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Or else the odds are stacked greatly against you.
Yeah, and no one's going to love them more than them. So that's it. I'm thank you for being here, Marcus. You honestly, you make the show better just by your presence. If people could see your smiling face, then they would stay on longer. And we got to get you on camera, man.
Well, maybe one day.
Maybe one day. All right, guys. Like this if you thought it was good. Share it, would help a lot. Or maybe one of the smaller things as they come out through the week, the smaller segments. Subscribe. Also, click that little bell at the side. It'll let you know when I have more content coming your way, like the shorts that we've branched off into. Check those out. They're fun. They're good. They're one-hit wonders. Anyway, go do something that a leftist would try to cancel you for, because if you're doing that, you're probably doing something right. All right, guys. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. And don't go to Canada, because, if you believe like me, you might go to jail. See you guys.